Hi folks, this is what I hope will be the first of a series of videos, basically reviews of old bikes. I gotta get myself sorted here. I hope the wind noise isn't too bad. I find this helmet particularly windy and noisy. Let me put the screen down, see if that helps. No, that's probably noisier. Let's try this. Anyway, the idea is to start off by doing reviews of my own bike. This one is a 1986 Suzuki Cavalcade, which I bought a little while ago, and I found that it's really good. For next to nothing, I bought this magnificent bike, and I find I really enjoy riding it. So as the weeks progress, I'll see if I can find different bikes to ride and come up with some videos that give you a sort of, as far as I can, an honest impression of what it's like to ride a particular bike. I'm hoping for mostly older bikes, but I'll mix and match with whatever I can find. And with any luck, I'll find enough bikes that whatever it is you're interested in, there might be something along those lines here. Anyway, as far as this 86 Cavalcade is concerned, it's a 1400cc V4, double overhead cam, 5 gears, and it has all the gears, all the tricks that Suzuki could possibly put into it. On this left-hand control, you can see it's got CB, and that also for the communications device. It's got a radio, it's got cruise control, twin discs up front, single disc at the rear, a shaft drive. Just coming up to this intersection here. My display on the panel is giving me a little trouble at the moment. You'll see it keeps fluctuating, telling me I've got a rear light out, whereas in fact I don't have. I checked the bulbs yesterday and they're all good and they're all working perfectly. So if you see the display panel flicking back and forth from time to time, it's just some little glitch I've got to get sorted. That's the inevitable reality of older bikes. There's always something to play with. Although this is, so far, I've put, let's see, 14,000 kilometers on this now since I bought it. And so far, all I've had to do is to replace the switch that operates off the clutch. You have to pull the clutch lever in to start the bike, and that was giving me some trouble. So I replaced it with a new switch, and it's been perfect ever since. Other than that, it's just been, you know, put gas in it and turn the key and away you go. I find this an incredibly smooth bike to ride. It's quiet, it's easy to handle. Despite its bulk, it handles remarkably well. The only time it's ever an issue is when you're at slow speed or at a stop, and then you've got to be careful how you put the bike down or where you put it, because, you know, once you get more than a couple of degrees from vertical, you're going to find that it wants to go over on its own, and you're not going to be able to stop it. It's a heavy beast. These roads aren't exactly delightful, but I'll just go down one of the side roads and see if we can find something a little more interesting to look at. I've become particularly fond of the cruise control. It works really well. And as usual, you can just deactivate it by touching a brake or rolling the accelerator forward. And on a long ride, it really makes a difference to how comfortable you are. And the seating position on this bike is fantastic. You see the cruise control light is lit there. This is an all-day rider. You know, you're sitting up nicely in the bucket seat. Legs just, well, feet right below your hips. Body vertical, arms loosely, evenly on the handlebars. There's no stress on my arms, and yet it's a good position for controlling the bike. It just loves these big sweeping bends. I thought at first when I started riding it that the bike would want to fall in and be difficult to manage, but it's not like that at all. It's surprisingly agile for such a monster. We'll take a ride here down Washburn Road. I don't want to go out too far today because it's a little on the chilly side. This engine really pulls. I think it's about 112 horsepower, 92 foot-pounds of torque, whatever that's measured in. So it doesn't matter what gear you're in, it's always got tons of go. I often get lazy and don't change down as much as I should for corners, and it'll just chug out of corners from 1,000 RPM or 1,500 RPM. I'm probably not being kind to the motor, but it does the job just fine. As a two-up machine, again, it's a fabulous thing because the bike is so powerful it just doesn't feel any of the weight. The only thing, once again, to remember is you've got to be very careful at intersections and anywhere where the extra weight of the passenger on top of the heavy weight of the bike could get away from you. But as long as you keep it vertical and basically plan ahead a little bit, it's a delightful bike to ride two up. Now coming down here to the Rideau Canal. This is a 250 kilometer long canal that stretches from Kingston to Ottawa. And there's a nice little spot up here where I can stop and do a little walk around. A few swans out on the water. I'll go over the bridge. Be a little careful here because there was a frost last night and oh no, the wood seems dry. No problem at all. So I'll just pull over here. And switch off. Okay, yeah, here's the 1986 Suzuki Cavalcade. I'll zoom in here. There's the big V4 engine tucked away in there. I've never had these body panels off, so one of these days I'll have to do that. So far, trouble-free, lots of power. Two big twin front discs. Do a really good job of slowing the bike. The thing is, these bikes were so well built that if they've been looked after at all, they stay in great condition, like this one. I mean, it's a bit mucky at the moment, but it's doing just fine. I got the radio in here. I never use the radio, but it's nice to have. and this is just for charging my phone. Controls for the CB, which of course I never use. I wouldn't even have a clue how to start. And controls for well, start and stop the engine, and cruise control. The passenger has seat cushion inflation using an air compressor that's built in on the bike, and also has their own controls for the radio, CB and communications, none of which we ever use, but hey, it's good to have. It's just built into the bike. So there it is, 1986 Suzuki Cavalcade. And you can buy these for chump change. I paid $2,500 for this bike, and they're out there. Low mileage. This one had 38,000 kilometers, which is nothing. That's hardly even run in. Okay, we're off again. Pull in the clutch. It's maneuvering in places like this where you have to be a little careful. As long as the bike's rolling, it's easy to manage.